Okay, good afternoon. Wow, that was loud. Welcome back after lunch. Delighted to welcome up on stage two new guests. Firstly, Jean-Christophe Seger, who's the CEO of a French company called Setubio. And to his right is Marie, and I do apologize if I get this wrong, Tveti?
Perfect.
Hey, I got it right. So, who is the rector of the Norwegian University of Life Sciences. I'm going to start off with Jean-Christophe first, and then come to you, Marie. So, we're not going to do ladies first. We'll do, unfortunately, Jean-Christophe first. You're still waiting for your luggage, Jean-Christophe.
Yeah, so thank
Terrible
you for this
story.
question. If someone see a luggage, this must be mine. So please bring it back to me.
There was somebody running outside the building with a... Yeah, you're okay. Good. Being serious, turning then to the subject in hand. Jean-Christophe, I wonder if you could just describe your journey to becoming CEO of your company. It's your company, you set it up. What has been your journey to get to this point?
Well, this is an old story, but in the first life, I was in the public research. We were 10, understanding what I was working on. And then I reached the real life as an expert for big companies. And in the third life, mine actually, I mix the knowledge and the tools from big research institutes to solve problems of people like you and me.
And the company that you've now set up, you're the founder of it. Just tell us a little bit about what your focus as a company is.
Well, it's very easy. We try to kill the bad microbes and help the good ones grow. I will develop a little bit. We look in the biodiversity for compounds that are able to be antibiotics or preservatives, or that can be used for the treatment of biofouling and so on. Or compounds that also can be eaten by humans, such as prebiotics, or also compounds for food in aquaculture, for example.
Aquaculture, the blue economy, which is the theme for this conference. What is particularly attractive for you as a business looking at this sector? What is it that you find engaging? Where do you see the growth opportunities coming from?
Well, the blue economy is probably one of the economies of the future, or the economy of the future. As I told you, we are working on aquaculture because we know that marine resources, fish for example, will be very important for the way we will eat in the future. But we also focus on marine resources for the marine resources. We work, for example, on microalgae to develop products that can be used in aquaculture. So we go from the seas to the seas.
And if you look at the opportunity going forward, specifically for your company, you operate across a number of sectors. Aquaculture, blue economy is one. What is it that needs to change or happen for you to have even more of your business focused on the blue economy, the aqua sector?
Can you repeat?
Yeah, you operate across a number of areas. Yeah. The blue, aqua is not just what your particular focus is. So you're now you're weighing up a lot of different opportunities within your business. Why is this one attractive to you?
Well, marine resources are poorly understood. This is something that is clear. We do not know anything about what happens in the seas. So this means that we got lots of things to discover. And the other point is that the opposite, is that on the ground we have a limited area. This means that if the populations want to grow, to develop, they will have to look to the seas. And for us, because of the resources first, and because of the development, the future developments, we have to focus on this blue economy.
If you look at your company and the challenges that you face going forward, what do you see as being the biggest challenges that you will face to grow and make your company even bigger than it is today?
The biggest challenge is to fight against the regulations. We don't have problems to study. I mean, there is no scientific problem that can't be solved. There is no industrial problem that can't be solved. The real problems that we have are regulatory problems. And I think this will be the major fight we will have in the future.
Can you just go into that in a bit more detail? When you say the regulatory problems, is that something very specific to Europe? Or do you see this, or is this something which is not specific to Europe and is to a greater or lesser extent apparent in many other places around the world?
This is a very, very good question. At the moment, for sure, it's very difficult to bring new products onto the European market. But because of the markets that are worldwide, and also because everybody wants the same rules, for sure, in Asia, in the US, in Africa, if this is not a real problem, this will soon be one.
So in Europe, what would we need to do, or what would the regulators need to do to make life easier for companies like you?
It's very simple. Let us work. Well, what I mean is that instead of having a list of authorized products, which is very limiting, we should have a list of forbidden products that are known to be dangerous. This is a principle that is very important. You know, in French, we say prendre un risque, which means take a risk. In English, you say take a chance. We got to take a chance.
And is that weight of regulation now, so if you look at external markets, so North America or into Asia, is the weight of regulation the same as in Europe, or is Europe really a special case?
Well, I think we are. Well, my answer will be different than 5 years ago. 5 years ago, I would have told you this is really different. Now there's a kind of uniformation. I mean, the same rules are now applied on the different continents, and I bet that it will be more and more difficult to bring new products onto the market in coming years.
So therefore, for your business, does that mean you're going to relocate and go somewhere like America? Would that be a way forward for you?
We got a huge chance. We are a very small company and a very flexible one. And we try to be bright and think about the rules to come. So this means that if we fail, lots of other companies will fail before, especially the big ones that won't be so flexible. Hopefully, they are very powerful, so they can put the pressure on the politics. And we hope that they will do their job to protect themselves, and if they protect themselves, they will protect us.
Final question then around innovation. Yours is a company which is probably very focused on doing things differently, innovating, being original, being creative. How do you keep that alive in a business against the backdrop of heavy regulation and lots of people saying, "Ooh, that's difficult," or "That's not possible"?
Well, everything is possible. So we do our best to find the good way. This is not because we are small that we can't change the world. If we got to find the good people who are receptive to our messages, and we try to not to change the things, but to modify them in a way that is more easy for us. So this means that this is a lot of lobbying and so on. It takes a long time, but this is the only way to adapt. But that's the way nature is. Animals, plants spend their time adapting.
Jean-Christophe, thank you very much indeed, and I sincerely hope your luggage reappears as early as possible. Thank you very much. Marie, Rector of the Norwegian University of Life Sciences, Centre of Excellence in the world for salmon production particularly, aquaculture generally, and biotech. Just tell the audience a little bit about the scope and range of research and the things that the university is involved in.
Thank you. Our university is, I usually say that it's tailor-made for the grand global challenges that the world is facing. And it's very much tailor-made towards what we're talking about today here, a new blue economy, a new bioeconomy, whether it's blue or green or every shade in between. What we have is a very unique synthesis of academic subjects, a diversity that ranges from all the biosciences, veterinary medicine, we have economy, we have technology, we have biotech, we have natural resources, you name it. And we also have this international development studies and environmental studies. So all this together is pretty much, it's almost like listing the fields that are listed for biomarine and the business convention. So it's a very future-oriented portfolio that we have. It's a very exciting time for a university with such a portfolio. I would say that there is certainly lots of potential and lots of also responsibility for us that comes with that, because in the face of all of these grand global challenges, this is really where we are and where we can contribute. So that's our scope, and we're aiming at the big overarching themes. That's what we're doing. So,
if you look at your faculties, the people working there, where do most of the people come from? Are they primarily Norwegian, or have you got people with broad international backgrounds?
Well, obviously, with the kind of portfolio that we have, it's a very natural thing that our staff and also our students are very much international. Obviously, there are very many Norwegians also, but we have long-standing and very good experiences of cooperation with countries all over the world. Lots of partners also in countries in the south. And with this cooperation, today we have, I'd say among the students, somewhere around 20% of the students are foreign students. Among PhD students, maybe somewhere around 50%. And also a lot of, we are able to attract a lot of highly skilled staff from all over the world, even if Norway is cold and all the rest of it. So yeah, international, I would definitely say.
We were talking outside and you were saying funding is a pretty important thing for any university.
Yeah.
How do you go about securing that funding, and what sort of challenges do you face in Norway securing the level of funding that you need to be successful?
Right. So, being a Norwegian university, we haven't come very far in Norway when it comes to private funding of universities and fundraising. It's just starting. So we would be interested. I'll just tell the crowd that. State funding, a very huge chunk of it, and then funding from the EU, from the Norwegian Research Council, and different funding bodies related to research funding. So right now what we do is to compete within research and education, and that's how we generate our funds.
In terms of your focus, in terms of the research that you're undertaking, where do you see the primary opportunities from a research perspective, but also from a perspective of growing and shaping your university faculties?
Right. Building the basis for a new and sustainable bioeconomy is really where I would say we are tailor-made. And there we're tailor-made in a way that all our academic fields can work and pull together. So it's not like a focal point where it's just this group that's got the opportunities. It's really where we work together, and in the interfaces, I usually say that the solutions to these grand global challenges will be found within our academic fields, but more than that, in between our academic fields. So it's really, for us right now, it's really about that. It's really about focusing on the interfaces. It's about building new connections, bridging different fields, and also bridging academia with the wider society, with businesses. We have a very ambitious strategy, obviously, when it comes to innovation, because that's what we want to do. We want to create new opportunities for new ways of doing things, new products, new businesses. That's how we change society. So that's what we want.
With Jean-Christophe, we were talking about innovation. You used the word innovation there. How do you keep that fire of innovation burning? Regulation is there. Money is required. How do you keep that fire of innovation burning within a university environment?
Ooh, the fire of innovation in the university, yes. I think the fire of innovation could probably be a bit stronger than it is right now, if I have to be fair. And by the way, you know that when your luggage is not coming, you can go shopping, right? I just need to tell you this. You can think about it. Sorry, I just had to tell him. The fire of innovation. Sorry, now I got the crowd. That was a distraction. Sorry, I'm gonna try to answer the fire of innovation here. The researchers are so far, I think, in Norway and everywhere else, they're in their a bit sort of narrow paths and thinking about getting the results from the research, and we don't have that much or that strong a tradition to take that extra step and make spin-offs and make new, taking it that one step further where we really need to go. So this is why we have made a very ambitious strategy for innovation that is in the hope and expectation of having that flame burning a little bit more strongly. I think it's fair to say that it needs to do that. And we're trying to make a good ecosystem for innovation. We're trying to, and we are cooperating with other partners like Nofima and Øyvind that you met before. So I think it's pretty much building culture still that we need to do. Because the potential is there, and there are lots of opportunities for new businesses, but we need to also open the door to people that know about commercializing and know about making businesses from this, and invite them to see what we're doing and help us to take that step. So I guess a platform like what we're experiencing here today is like excellent in terms of doing that.
I think people in the audience, that may be a surprising statement for people listening to this, because everybody would associate Norway as being such a hub and a center of excellence within aquaculture and the blue economy, and that ability to commercialize, to take innovation and make money from it. You would have thought it would have been there. You said it's changing. What's been the barriers so far to making that happen?
Well, I don't want to ruin your image of Norway and our capability in this sense, but let's just say that our ambitions are even higher. What the obstacles are, I think, they're manifold still, so we're working along lots of different paths. Within the university, it's still about strengthening the culture for innovation. It's about thinking about innovation from the very beginning when you start projects. We have great new platforms in Norway, like Centers for Research-Driven Innovation, which are huge and very prestigious platforms that the Norwegian Research Council is providing. And that's the kind of platforms where we need to be competing, and we just got a new one, so I'll tell you that, with a project called Foods of Norway, with biorefinery at its heart and feed for livestock, salmon.
Final couple of questions then. The students at the university, typically where do they go to when they leave the university? Do they get taken up into the aquaculture industry? Or are they competing for other roles with other parts of the Norwegian economy?
What I can tell you is that our students, they get relevant jobs within just a couple of months after finishing. I'm talking about the sort of, I think the last survey that we made regarding this, 9 out of 10 had a relevant job within 2 months or 3 months after finalizing their studies, which is pretty good. And within technology, for example, people are pretty much, we have to keep them until they finish because businesses want to grab them before they actually finish.
The final question, I was at the North Atlantic Seafood Forum back in March in Bergen, and one of the things that struck me was the number of young women in aquaculture, but also in science careers in Norway. And I think that's a tremendous success. Was my perception right, or was my perception wrong, that there is a lot of women now coming through into these types of roles?
Yeah, well, I think it's a general trend in Norway and everywhere that women are competing very strongly now in higher education. And from my point of view, we want to make the most of the whole talent pool, not only half. So women or men, the talent, we want it.
And that's a great statement to end on, and an encouraging one as well. So look, thank you both very much indeed. Jean-Christophe and Marie, thank you very much.
Thank you.
And good luck with the luggage.